Hi everybody. So this is the first video that I've made in a really long time. I think since end of January, whenever I went to Rome, which I'm back obviously now. But yeah, so I made a video before I left, and when I did leave, I was in a pretty good place eating disorder wise, in terms of like how I felt about myself, like how I was eating and like treating my body and all of that. And then I just, like, after I was there, pretty much right away after I got there, and then since coming home, it's just been really hard. And that's kind of why I disabled my Instagram account. And I realized I wasn't using it really anymore, and I just needed a break from even know it was like stressing me out just knowing it was there. So I needed to like put that aside, and just kind of like focus on everything that was going on at the moment. So basically, what I want to talk about in the video is what happens when you get comfortable with like a set point that basically you've created for your body, and then, like, in a sense, feeling like you've hit your set point kind of sets you almost back into like ED behaviors type thing. So before I left, like I said, I was in a pretty good place. I was eating what I wanted. I was listening to my body. I was kind of getting used to it. I was kind of getting used to like, oh, this like feels okay. This isn't as uncomfortable anymore as it used to be. Like, I'm kind of accepting my body for what it is, like all of that kind of stuff. And I didn't even really realize it at the time, but I had gotten kind of latched onto like the idea that my weight would never change, basically. And that now that I had like reached this point, in terms of like my set point, and like my weight wasn't changing that much, like I was kind of relieved. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I'm kind of okay with this, and like this is never going to change ever, and like I'm going to control that now. I started like weighing myself compulsively every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, because I was so obsessed with the idea that like nothing would change like physically anymore. And I think I started like subconsciously, or maybe not, like kind of cutting back too, start kind of skipping breakfast, that kind of thing, or just like avoiding like snacks and stuff like that, and being too busy. And like I think it just was sort of a manipulative way of being like, see, I've reached my set weight, and like it's actually not that bad, and this is never going to change, which is just not how people's bodies ever works. And then I went to Italy, Rome, and everything kind of like just went downhill. To briefly kind of give you a sense of what the situation was, our meal plan was basically eating out every single night. There was not a day, like from the moment I got there until when I left, that I did not go out to eat for dinner, or then eat out more times during the day on top of that, which for me was, as it is, that's like a challenge, eating out. And on top of that, if like the only foods you're being presented with in a restaurant are pasta or pizza, and that's essentially pretty much it, I was thrown so far out of my comfort zone, like day 2. I just did not know how to handle it. And I had gotten to a place before where I could like challenge little things like that. Like I could like make a point of like in a comfortable setting, like going out to dinner and pushing myself to actually have what I wanted instead of like choosing a low calorie option, that kind of thing. But if every night and like during the day too, you are eating foods that as it was like uncomfortable eating before I went, like without mentally basically prepping myself for like, this is the kind of food you're gonna have, I didn't know how to handle it. And I was, on top of that, the place we were living at, we didn't have full-length mirrors, which normally wouldn't be a problem, but if you're so concerned with the idea that you're gaining weight and you don't have anything to negate or confirm that, my eating disorder mind confirms that my fears are true. And instead of being able to like reality check and be like, oh, no, like, I mean, maybe you've gained like a little bit of weight. Most other people probably also have, but it's not that bad, and like you still look like you, like that kind of thing. I just didn't know how to deal with it, and I just automatically went to the most extreme like solution, which was that I've gained like so much weight. I've put on like a ton of like whatever 20 pounds, like look so much heavier. Everyone else is thinking about it. Everyone else looks at me and thinks about how much weight I've gained, and nothing to go against that. So it was just kind of this whole like mesh of things that were completely mentally throwing me off. And one of the huge reasons is because before I had gotten to a place where I thought I was set. I was like, I can eat whatever now and I'll be fine because I've reached my set point. And I knew going to Italy that that was not technically my set point anymore. And I had to accept the fact that even though I'd gotten super comfortable in my body and I'd gotten to a point where I thought that was it, that was my weight and it wasn't going to change, I had to accept that maybe that set point that you got so comfortable with wasn't actually your set point, and you might have to get, just when I got comfortable with that and just started accepting that being what I looked like, I had to get to a point where I was like, you need to start accepting being in a heavier, bigger body than that. So the moral of the story is that I came back. I did not gain 20 pounds. I gained a lot less weight than I thought I had, which is not the point. I mean, the point is that it could be any amount of weight, and that's the right weight for your body, and that's what you have to kind of learn to work with. And like the hardest thing I read this summer is experiencing an emotion and not doing anything about it, not restrict, not cut back, not stop eating is really, really hard. And when I came back here, it's been hard because I've been trying to feel like, in my head, I feel like there's a part of me that hopes I will go back to the weight I was before, because now I'm like eating like I was before I went, so naturally, like, I'm gonna naturally lose the weight that I gained while I was abroad. And like, that's unhealthy too, because then you're basically banking on being in a smaller size body, and that's not the point of recovery. The point is you can be at any size, and you just have to take it in and accept it. I think what I need to do is come back and realize I'm not gonna try and change anything about my body. I might end up losing some of the weight while I'm abroad. Maybe I won't. And maybe actually I'll gain more weight at some point, and that is what it is. I don't want to get like attached to a set weight, because then that's dangerous if any part of your lifestyle changes. If the coronavirus hits and you can't leave your house and you can't exercise, go to the gym, you're sitting, you still have to eat the same amount of food. You can't like cut back because of that. If you go abroad, if you go on a vacation, if it's your birthday, if you go out to dinner, like, there's so many variables that's like dangerous to get attached to a set weight, because things are always changing. I think my takeaway is like, trust your body. The fact is, bodies are constantly changing. You gain weight depending on what's going on in your life, and that's okay. It's not like the end of the world. Life goes on. If you're maintaining a set point weight, it is probably not the weight you're supposed to be at. No one maintains their natural body weight. Like, your body is doing its own thing. You can trust it. It's gonna respond the way it needs to respond. It's trying to keep you healthy. You don't decide your body's set point weight. It does that for you. And honestly, maybe there's no such thing, because people's bodies change all the time. So now that I'm back, I'm not gonna try and go back to the weight I was before going to Rome. So I'm just gonna keep listening to what my body needs at the moment, not judging it, not saying, oh, this is more than you ate before you went to Italy. You're craving this because you're used to these other kinds of foods. Just respecting it and trusting it's got it, and not getting attached to any set point weight. Okay, thank you guys. All right, I will make another video soon, I hope. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and doing well. All right, bye guys.